Okay, today I want to talk about Neville Goddard and changing who you want to be and changing who you want to be right now. Because it's very easy to say that if you do this in 5 years, you'll have this level of success. No, what Neville Goddard teaches you is that you can be who you want to be right now. You can feel that experience right now and start to make actions and decisions based off that sense of self, based off that idea of yourself, and your life will be just as good as if you already had it. And the fact is, when you live like this, you open yourself up to the possibility of more. You open yourself up to the possibility of a new idea. You know, if you don't believe yourself capable of something and you try to do it, what's the chance you succeed? I would say pretty much zero. But if you believe you're capable, if you believe you're worthy, even if you fail, you can see what you went wrong with. You can see the lessons, you can see the steps that you need to take. And if you believe you're already worthy, then it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. It doesn't matter the external circumstances. You're in love with the journey. You know it's going to happen. You're not rushing it. And because you're not rushing it, because you're taking this playful approach, because you're not taking things serious, you have room to be creative. You have room to play around. You have room to enjoy the ups and downs, enjoy what it means to be alive. And this is really at the root of Neville Goddard. It's becoming who you want to be in the now, not worrying about the external circumstances, and having fun in the process. Being gracious, having gratitude for the things you already have. Because the one surefire way to be happy in this world is to express gratitude. If you have gratitude, then happiness seeps into the rest of your life. And that's something that I really, really want you guys to get across. And that's something that's spliced throughout these entire books, this entire series of pages. And what I really want you to do is understand the basic ideas of Neville Goddard, because they really are so self-transformational, and they really do have the potential to make you become who you want to be. And it's, again, not about the external circumstances, it's about who you become. Because it means nothing if you win the lottery. Think of how many people have won the lottery and blew it all within a year, within 2 years, and they're back working that minimum wage job, whatever it is. And then think of the people that lose it all and build it back up. You want to build the personality that can create what it is that you want. You want to become the person that can build it from scratch. You want to become the person that earns that success, because success that's unwarranted, success that's unearned is never appreciated. And this is really the secret of life. It's earning things and finding purpose and fulfillment through the hard work, the hard, arduous process of failure, loss, and then eventual triumph at the end, and understanding that every sorrow deepens your joy, as Khalil Gibran said. And what are Neville Goddard's central ideas? The central idea is feeling is the secret. That's the easiest way to put it. When you feel yourself to be capable of something, when you live in the end, when you persist in a state of consciousness, it will eventually harden into fact. And that's something that's purely out of the Bible. That's something that is in most religious beliefs. And there's a saying, everything's created twice, first in your mind, second in reality. So think about it this way. Everything you see around you was once a thought, everything was once an idea, and that idea had to be brought into this world, but it couldn't be brought into this world without the idea. So when you see that your ideas are the predecessor of everything in your life, the way you carry yourself into situations, the way you move and adjust to the future is the way that will define you. And so many people are stuck. So many people are set in stone. So many people will continue to live lives that make them unhappy because they're unwilling to change their self-definition. They're unwilling to change their I am. They're unwilling to look at their life and say, I don't want to repeat these circumstances. And what Neville Goddard tells you to do is break apart from this. Deny your senses. In some way, live in the end. In some way, create an image in your head of the end state and live in that state until it hardens into fact, until it becomes real. Fall in love with that person. Fall in love with who you're becoming. And the more you embody this, the more you become something new. Neville Goddard said basically something along the lines of, every man's destiny is set in stone until he changes his I am, until he changes his self-definition, until he changes who he believes himself to be. He can never change his destiny. And this is a very powerful sentiment because it gives you the ultimate responsibility. What will happen to you is directly a result of your attitude, is directly a result of your thoughts. There are a ton of people in this world who drink because their parents were alcoholics, and there are a ton of people who will never drink because their parents are alcoholics. No matter how bad the circumstances, no matter what is happening, if you make the correct decision in every circumstance, you will be successful. And it's chasing that ideal. It's trying to embody that ideal as much as you possibly can. That will get you to that end. That will get you to that state. And it's falling in love with the process. It's not worrying about, oh my God, I imagined myself to be a millionaire. I didn't get $1 million today. It's like, okay, what's the difference? If you feel it in your heart, what's the difference? Why do you need to feel it in this world? Why does it need to be in front of you? You know it's coming. You're laying the groundwork. You're laying the foundation to become the person you want to be. And it's much more important to be the person than it is to actually have the money, to actually have the thing, to actually have what it is that you're wishing to have in this world. And these are really the basic ideas, but the tricks that Neville Goddard goes over are also very life-changing. And what I want you to understand is if you fall asleep, if you meditate and focus on a certain image and paint a certain memory, it will begin to alter the course of who you will become. We all have set beliefs. We all have rigid structures that dictate our ideas, dictate our thoughts, but we can actively change these through these self-hypnotic methods. And Neville Goddard's greatest self-hypnotic method is perhaps falling asleep in the end. Falling asleep with the idea that you already have it, because while you sleep, that idea is impressed into your mind the entire time. So for the next 8 hours, you have uninterrupted ideas about becoming wealthy, about becoming successful, about becoming financially free, about freeing yourself from your current life, about becoming exactly who you want to be. And these are all such inspiring ideas. And the last thing I want to share with you guys is the ability to train your attention, because Neville says that your attention is directly correlated to your assumption. Your assumption will only harden into fact if it is focused on and if it is used with great intention and great focus. Because how can you ever do anything if you're distracted? Have you ever tried to multitask? Have you ever tried to watch TV and do an assignment and then you look back at the assignment and everything's wrong? It's the same idea. If you don't put your heart and soul into this, then it's not going to work. If you don't create a picture that's so real, your mind will be able to understand that it's just a picture. It's not the real thing. But when you paint it so vividly, when you give it every expression of real life, then that is where you have already lived it. That's when you already have the experience. It's as if you've done it 1,000 times. It's as if you've woken up as that person already. And that's the real secret to it. And how do we train our attention? The simplest way to train our attention is to, as we're falling asleep, go through your day in reverse order. Remember every single detail, and remember every single detail vividly. Remember the senses, remember the smell, remember the feeling. Remember everything about the circumstances that you can. And if you do this night after night, you will train your mind to be able to focus, and you will train your mind to be able to direct your attention to who you want to become. Remember, it's not about the external circumstances. The more you can neglect the external circumstances, the more you can control your internal circumstances. I don't care who you are. If you can control what's going on in your head, then you can control your happiness. And that's really the thing about it. Like, we all have problems. We all have things we can point to. We all have things that are going wrong in our lives. But the same is true in the inverse. We all have things we can appreciate. We all have things that we can point to and say, wow, this is awesome. I'm supported in so many ways. I have so many blessings. I have this, I have this, I have this. Like, I'm telling you right now, as just as many bad things that you have in your life, you have good things. And the more we start to focus on these things, the more we start to change our perception, our self-definition, the ideas that we hold in our head and the ideas that we hold about ourselves, the more we can become who we want to be. Everyone deserves to be exactly who they are. But we are all conforming to society for the sake of comfort, for the sake of safety. It's time you start breaking out of these paths. It's time you start breaking out of these habits and actually start living out your dreams. Actually start feeling yourself in the end. Actually start becoming the person that you see yourself being. Actually getting the success you feel you deserve and embodying that in the day-to-day until it hardens into fact. I love you guys so much. I will link this book at the end of the description. If you want Neville Goddard books, the easiest, probably simplest one to read is The Power of Awareness. I think this is my favorite one. But you can also find a lot of his audiobooks online for free. Just look up Neville Goddard audiobooks, or you can also get his lectures. His lectures are really, really fantastic. They might even be better than the books in some regards. But yeah, go ahead, pick up all these resources. I'm promising you that If you start studying these things, you will transform who you are. Even if you don't believe in the mystical elements of it, believe in the psychological elements of it. Who you decide to be, who you carry yourself into the world as, what level of confidence, what level of security, what level of happiness you walk into the world with, your world will be rewarded with. Okay? Understand that, and you will understand the world. Understand that when you are open to the possibility that you can do something, you have a much better possibility of doing it. Carry that with you for the rest of your life, and you will succeed. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Peace out. I'll catch you in the next one.